Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Rusty Beauties Restorations and the 1958 Triumph TR3 that we are restoring here. I mean, it's not a complete restoration, but we are restoring the body, and as you can see, it is in a pretty good shape already. The whole front end is completed. We've done a lot of repairs here. The valance went under major surgery. Big portion of it has been replaced. Floors and battery box and all that. And in the last episode, we finally replaced also the boot floor. We took care of the spare tire opening. It was a little bit distorted, so the lid wasn't going properly. And I believe we are done with all the major repairs that the car needed. So in this episode, we're gonna aim at finishing the rear end, which means we need to put the fenders on, but to put the fenders on, we first need to deal with some dents. Like as you can see here, this whole end from here down is distorted, so we wanna get rid of these dents as best as we can before we install the fenders on the car. The other one is up there. It also has some dents that we need to deal with, you see here. So before we put them on the car, we're gonna deal with that. But I think first we're gonna start with the boot lid that is sitting over there, and we will see how well we can fit it. But even without installing the boot lid, we can see that here this panel somehow got distorted. Maybe somebody sat on it and it got pushed down here in the middle. So we're gonna have to straighten it. I think we're gonna start with that first, and then we're gonna continue with the fenders. So without further ado, let's get crack-locking. So here, this is the part that needs to match that panel, and as you can see, we have a huge bow in the middle. So we have a high spot here. But let's see what's happening with the actual panel. Here, not only we don't have a bow, but we also have a low spot right here in the center. Somehow it is going down. Let's see how we can raise it. I think we can put this piece of wood here, and with a jack, maybe something else too. Yeah, I know this is wrinkled here, so we have to loosen these dents. I'm just forcing it high, so when it springs back, it should go to the right spot, I'm hoping. If it goes too high, we know how to fix it, right? I can sit on it again. It's actually not too bad. Now I can straighten this end here if I can, but now let's try the other side as well. Now here we have also this part that is smashed. We'll see how we're gonna straighten this. Let's try to straighten this part now. So that goes down and there's a flange that goes up. So I think I'm gonna straighten it kind of, and then we're gonna rebend it again. Okay, this got straightened, but it needs to go a little bit higher as far as I can see, and here as well. But you know what, let's put the boot lid and see how it's gonna fit. Oh, it's actually pretty good. It's actually excellent. I'm actually happy with it. Not gonna touch it anymore. We're gonna deal with these dents here, and there's a hump here. So we're gonna straighten all that, and we're not gonna touch it anymore. I think that's perfect now. I don't know how well you can see, but when the hinges keep it high at the same level here and there, it is still the same level here. So we got it on the first try. That's good. All right, that looks better now. I was able to planish here a little bit, but this was like chewing gum. It was so wrinkly. I don't know what happened and how it happened here. So I managed to smoothen it pretty well. Smoothened here as well. There is a low spot right here, but I don't really have access from underneath, so that's gonna be body filler. It's a very small spot. It's like a penny size. Anyway, glad it worked well. It is nice and smooth now, the curve. There's no low spot. So we're gonna put the lid on here, and then we're gonna start planishing this fender over there. Let's see how well that's gonna go. Okay, so this doesn't look too bad, right? But look at that now. It is actually pretty bad. So let's see what we can do about it. And so on and so forth. Now we have to continue with this. I'm gonna put you on time-lapse mode. So for this, the problem with this is that they're not just metal that needs to be pushed back in. They are actually stretched. Little by little, we are shrinking them back in. It takes a while, but it works. So I'm gonna put you in time-lapse mode, and we're gonna go ahead and do this entire area here. Alright, that actually looks much better now. Of course, it's gonna need body filler, and I just painted it, but my primer, for whatever reason, is like going crazy. There's lots of runs, but we're gonna let it dry. I'm gonna go pick up my kids from school, and when we come back, we're gonna sand it again, and we will see if the same effect is gonna happen. But you can tell here we have another area that we still need to fix. And here you see it is already much smoother, so I'm happy with that. The rest, I think, the rest of this fender is pretty good. Oh, there's a big dent right here that hopefully it's gonna be easy. And the rest seems to be good. Then we're gonna put it on the car. Well, before we put it on the car, remind me guys, I keep forgetting. Phil just texted me to remind me as well that we need to weld here. There's 2-3 spot welds that gave way, as Phil said. So we're gonna drill them, and we're gonna make plug welds. It's safer. And also, while I was trading in this, there's this spot weld that gave way and this spot weld that gave way. So we're gonna weld these before we forget. And on the other side, the same. For whatever reason, in the same area, this needs to be welded. So we're gonna do that. But let me go pick up the kids first before my girlfriend kills me. Wow, it's actually worse than what I thought. Yeah. I mean, it needs more. So this here is a low spot. So I'm gonna planish this a little bit more, but the rest I'm gonna leave. Because yeah, of course you can see where it has the highs and the lows, but if we wanna have this perfect, we're gonna be here for days and we don't have all that time. And how I'm raising it is I'm putting the dolly in the low spot and I'm hammering on the outside on the high spots. So the dolly has this profile, you see it. I ground it this way. It used to be just this way, but I ground it also this way. So now it has a high spot in the center. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm gonna deal with this part here on my own. I'm not gonna hold you here because it's boring. Let me actually sand it while you're here. There you go. So you see, these actually we can go with the shrinking disc and just go on top and shrink only these parts because they are hammer marks and the metal is stretched there. It needs to be shrunk. No, I'm gonna planish them with the same way as we planish this big area here. Okay, that's what it looks like. I mean, it's probably not perfect again, but you can barely feel anything with your hand. Probably just with a high build primer and sanding and it's gonna be perfect. So let's paint it. It's not bad. Wow, I left these ones at the end. Okay, we're gonna take care of these ones as well. I didn't go that far. While it dries, I'm gonna come deal with this one here. You see what I'm talking about? It's big and gone. Feels much better now. Meanwhile, I discovered this as well. We're gonna have to sand this away because now it's filled with the primer, because when we're planishing and we're hitting the primer with the slapper, so we need to get rid of it so we can actually have a hollow space here to allow the metal to rise. So, well, I'm actually surprised. These are not that deep. I was expecting to find big holes because I can feel the humps on the back, but they're not that deep, surprisingly. So anyway, we're gonna planish them a little bit. Not a lot. If I knew they were so small, I wasn't even gonna remove the primer for there. But now that we opened the Pandora box, let's deal with it. That's how far I'm gonna go with them. All right, so I'm gonna paint these two. I'm gonna go deal with these here, little ones at the end that we said. And after that, I'm gonna show you something pretty serious on this one. Like, okay, I'm showing you already. There's a big line here like that because this has been pushed in and you see it's cracked underneath, so we're gonna have to weld it. We're gonna have to shrink here a little bit to make this a straight line from one end to the other, and then we'll see how we're gonna deal with this because it is like big line. I don't know if you see it. Okay, so this fender has a really awkward shape, so if I put it there, it doesn't stay flat. This is the flattest surface I managed to find. So this flange, now it is nice and straight, you see? I'm happy with it. However, if you look at this here, I don't know if you see, but right here I can feel it. So that helped a little bit, straightening the flange here, and actually I straightened very little. Where was it? Here. I went on the shrinker stretcher and that was pushed in from here. So I stretched a little bit here and that raised this end up. And now we have a nice and consistent curve here. We're not talking about the other side. I'm gonna show you there too. And this way, this whole triangle here raised, you know, because there was this line here. I still feel it, but it's much better. So yeah, you see it feels like this corner here is still going down. But the other problem is, if you look up there, right there, it's going up and then it's going down. So I think I already tried to fix it a little bit, but it needs to be shrunk here so it can go down, and then maybe somewhere here it can be stretched so it go back up. So we can straighten the line that currently is going straight up and straight again. Okay, so shrink here. My shrinker doesn't work very well. The stretcher works perfectly, the shrinker doesn't. And then stretch a little bit here, we said, right? That's fun. Okay. That looks better, I think. I think that worked actually. Yeah, there's more here. There's a little bit more, so I'm gonna go in the other direction one more time. It works. Okay. A little bit more in this area. Okay, this here seems to be a low spot, so I'm gonna increase the pressure here and I'm actually gonna stretch a little bit here. So far I've been only trying to flatten it with no pressure, but now I'm actually putting a little bit of pressure here, only in this area. Okay, I think that worked really well. Now we don't have any more this line here. It's perfect now. So I guess it needs to go a little bit higher now. The whole thing needs to be twisted a little bit, but the best way to check it is by putting it on the car actually. So let's do that, but first we need to take care of that, right? I also took care of these dents here, so I'm gonna paint that as well. And yeah. All right, this fender is installed and it actually seems to be pretty good. I mean, before this corner was going in like on its own, but now that it is mounted, it went where it's supposed to be. Plus, you know, there's gonna be a metal strap here to hold it in place so it doesn't vibrate. And yeah, it seems pretty good. So we're done with this one. The other one though is a disaster. I already started sanding it, and you see all this, like this has been really mangled, like really bad, so like all over the place. Even here there's a big rise here, and this is a low spot, this is a low spot, this here is huge low spot, this is a low spot here, this is a low spot, so I don't even know where to start. I think I'm just gonna take it to the English wheel and we're gonna start from there. Ideally I should strip all the paint, and I might do that, but I have to go outside because it's gonna be messy. And there's another spot here that is not too bad compared to that one. And the rest is pretty good. There's a crease here that we need to straighten, a little crack here that we're gonna weld, and there was something else somewhere, or no, this area here feels nice and smooth, but this here is a disaster. Alright, I know it doesn't look great, but believe me, it is so much better. It's not done yet, it needs a lot more work, but the main big dents that were here are pushed out. So there was one here that is, I still need to work a little bit more on it. There was one big here that came out. There's this line that was very deep, now it is much shallower, and I'm still working on it. And there's a dent here that need to be pulled out, but hey, these are like so much better than before. And then of course there's this big area still that is low, and here and here and here, but these I'm hoping that I'm gonna be able to do on the English wheel. These here that was impossible. When you see all these big scratch marks, at some point of its life this fender has been stripped with a grinder. You see there's big scratch marks. Anyway, I'm gonna continue here on my own, I'm not gonna hold you, and we will see what results we're gonna have at the end. Alright, that's where we're gonna leave it. I mean, I've done a little bit more polishing and feels smooth. Of course there are lows, like everywhere where we have steel paint, and this is a low spot, but you see how thin it is, so can do better than that. But for me the most important is to have the whole panel, to have the shape of the whole panel flat, you know what I mean, to be one plane. And then if we have a small low and small high here and there, that's going to be taken care of by the body filler. Here we still have uneven parts, and I think I'm going to take it back to the English wheel. You remember on this one we had this big line that we were able to get rid of on the English wheel. But first I'm gonna weld these holes here. We're gonna straighten this flange because you see it is curved as well, and we want it straightened. And I straightened that flange, so now we're just gonna weld it. And yeah, and then I'm gonna take it to the English wheel. And we still have this area here to deal with. which is probably gonna give me lots of troubles too, but we will get there. Anyways, just giving you an update. All right, so I welded it, grounded inside and outside, and I went on the English wheel, and again with very, very little pressure so we don't stretch it, but a lot of times, back and forth, and I think we got to a pretty good point here, at least that's what my hand is telling me. Let's see. Flange is too open. I straightened it. I went on the shrinker and shrunk here a little bit, so this line is now straighter, but the flange is open and it's creating a low spot here on the outside. You know, when it is wavy and you sand it, you feel all the bumps and all the highs and lows, right? Now it feels pretty good. Okay, so I'm happy with everything in the back. The only part is here I'm not happy with. So this is low, and this is high. So I'm gonna continue working on that and on this, but I'm not gonna hold you here. I'm gonna bring you back. Okay, I think it is pretty good now. I gave it a little bit more on the English wheel in this area, and now maybe this is a little bit low, but nothing that the body filler won't feel. So we're gonna stop here. This also, I planished it as far as I could. It's, believe me, it was much worse than that. Now it is actually pretty smooth. So we're gonna paint them, and while they're drying, we're gonna go and do something on the dash, the dash or the scuttle panel. Okay, so let's see the reflection. You see this one? It's not great, and this is the most problematic area that was there. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm not more than happy, but I'm happy. So this got welded, and here looks pretty good as well. Of course, I have runs again because my stupid spray can is dripping for whatever reason. Look, on the floor everywhere, on my shoes. Anyway, well, I couldn't show you what happened here because I thought I pressed the recording button, but I didn't. That used to happen a lot before, and recently I thought I grew out of it, but I did it again. So anyways, what was happening here, there was a little bit of oil canning happening here. This part was going punk, 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 punk. Now it doesn't do that anymore. And what I did is I looked at this line. It was somehow high in the center, but it was doing this on this side and on that side. So what I did was I grabbed it right here with my hands literally and pulled up, which made few wrinkles here. There was one wrinkle here originally, but it made one more here on the flange because now the flange is trying to shrink, right? But it has nowhere to move. So I grabbed the dolly and the hammer and I literally shrunk it. I put the dolly behind and I hammered on the wrinkle, and as it was going in, initially it went down again, but then I pulled it again, and then I did it one more time, and the second time it shrunk. So now we have pretty nice curve there. I don't know what this curve needs to be. That's gonna be according to the dash, but for sure it is not down, up, and then on the other side down, up, because we had the same issue there. And now there's no oil canning anymore. So another problem solved. So now I think that is dry already. so we can put it on the car just to test fit it. This has been welded, so we don't need to do anything anymore here. We're gonna put the fender on the car, and maybe we should put this door as well, just to have a final look at all the parts fitted properly. And if everything fits okay, we're gonna lift the body. I mean, we're gonna have to take the doors off again and put that brace that Phil made, that the car came with, because we don't want to lift it without any support on the doors. We're gonna do the welds underneath, and there's also some frame repairs that I don't know if I mentioned, but we're gonna have to do, and that's gonna be it. Okay, so this fender is installed as well, and it fits as it should. Look, it looks pretty good now that it's dry. There's no highs and lows anymore like the major ones that we have. Of course, it has little ones that are gonna need body filler. I know, I keep saying that, you know. I'm just not really happy with this fender. I mean, it's not perfect and it drives me crazy, but you know, there's this line here. You see? I didn't see this line, but it is satisfactory. So I'm not really happy with this. I'm not really happy with this. Okay, also here, well, that have to be fastened before I put the door, remind me. But here, I've installed these on the side, and you see there's a gap here, but that's because there must be a seal there. So I don't know how thick that seal is, but if need be, these holes are oval, they might be extended a little bit more, and this thing can be pushed out. But again, I don't know how big that gasket is. I don't know what's happening up there. I guess it's another type of seal that doesn't allow water to go through. This one is a little bit closer, so that fender is a little bit further out than this one, but hey, nobody can see the car from both sides at the same time, right? No, it looks the same, doesn't it? Anyway, last thing, I'm gonna install the door and double check if everything fits well. And right, so she is finally in one piece. I mean, in one piece, all the parts that came with her, she came in small pieces. Now they're all put together and they all fit, imagine. So unfortunately it's cold outside. I will take it outside and give you a walk around. So we're gonna do it here. It's tight, and look at this monster of a toolbox that I bought. That's not where it's gonna be. It's gonna be moved, but just for now it is there. Anyway, there are a few things that I need to do when we start taking her apart. One of them is here, the curve that I showed you in the previous episode, I believe. We need to lower this curve here and raise this curve here. So that's gonna be when we take the fender and the valance off. We're gonna match them off the car. Here, the front, oh my god, there's another dent here. How did I not see this dent? So we're gonna have to take out this dent as well, and nobody told me. Anyway, the valance looks good. Gaps, everything. This fender that we replaced the bottom of. The door is now installed, still fits perfectly, gaps are good. This fender that we just finished, so this is the other thing that we need to do. When you look at it here, right here, this is, I don't know if you see it, but it's sticking out. That's where we welded that part, and I'm assuming there's tension here, and that's why it actually got cracked, because this thing is trying to go out. So we're gonna have to try to fix it. And you see, when I installed it, this wrinkle that we fixed it happened again. Because I had to push this back because it was coming too far out. So I pushed back in and that happened there. So we're gonna have to take care of that. Maybe, you know what, I think what we're gonna do is actually, yeah, I'm gonna make a cut here. Like right here. I'm gonna do that now before we lift the body. I'm gonna make a cut here just to relieve the tension, because that's gonna keep happening. When I take the fender off, that's gonna straighten because it's gonna spring back out. So we're gonna have to make a relief cut here and weld it again so it stays where it is right now. Okay, so we're gonna do that before we lift the body. And there's another thing that we need to do, that's gonna be when we lift the body. So these are the two dents here that I can't deal with right now, but when the body is up in the air, I'm gonna be able to work on that. This, you look here with your eyes closed. This fender fits well, doesn't have that issue, and the door is okay and all that. We have new floors inside, we have new battery box, we have new floor in the boot. So she's almost done. I mean, the body needs only these few adjustments and it's gonna be perfect. So I'm really happy with how she turned out. So let me do this quickly and I'll bring you back. Okay, that's better. Now we have a kind of a straight line here, no more stress cracks. And I pushed her as close as possible to that post over there so we can have a little bit of a wider view here. Wow, look at her, she's all complete. Isn't she a beauty? A rusty beauty, just like that one. Oh my god, I'm so happy. Okay, that's gonna be too high, but let's pretend we have a seat. Actually, is it too high? I don't know. I'm not used to driving a TR3, but yeah, I think that's... No, can't be that high. But if it's lower than that, I'm gonna be like under the dash. I don't know. I own a TR3, but I've never driven it. I've driven only David's TR3 once or twice. Anyway, guys, so the body is complete. But that's not the end of it. There's gonna be one more episode in which, like I said, we're gonna lift the body and we're gonna do some frame repairs. So we're gonna weld the floors from underneath and then we're gonna put it back on the frame, but we're gonna bolt it with 2-3 bolts only because Phil is gonna wanna lift it up again and paint underneath and do whatever, all kinds of stuff. And he's gonna paint the frame, he's gonna assemble the suspension, install the engine and transmission, etc, etc. He's currently rebuilding the engine and I believe the transmission as well. So hopefully one day we're gonna see this car on the road. Anyways, I'm rambling, so we're gonna end this video here. Stay tuned for one more, and then we're gonna be back to our 1970 TR6 that is sitting right next to you. And it looks sad because it's being neglected, but I'm sorry 1970, we're gonna be back on you shortly. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for commenting, subscribing, sharing and supporting the channel as usual. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh.